Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into a true literary legend, Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time.
It's a big one.
It is a big one, 7 volumes, thousands of pages.
I know. It can be a little intimidating.
Yeah, it's definitely a commitment.
But that's why we're here. We're going to uncover those golden nuggets, the insights that make it worth every single page.
Exactly. Because this isn't about speed reading. It's about understanding why this book, why this novel, is considered one of, if not the most important works of the 20th century.
And believe me, even though it's this massive, complex work, it's full of juicy gossip, surprising looks at human nature.
Oh, absolutely. And enough drama to rival, like, any reality show you could think of.
So let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
Published between 1913 and 1927, the novel follows this unnamed narrator, our guy, on his journey from childhood to adulthood in high society France.
High society is right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking first loves, navigating those social circles, artistic discoveries, and a whole lot of introspection along the way. And that's where Proust really kind of breaks the mold. This isn't your typical plot-driven novel. He's digging deep into the narrator's consciousness, exploring memory, desire, and the very nature of art itself.
It's like he's trying to unravel the mysteries of what makes us human.
Exactly. And one of the things he's most famous for are those involuntary memories.
Oh, you mean like when a certain smell or taste just throws you back in time?
Yeah, exactly. Like the taste of a Madeleine cake for Proust could unlock this flood of memories. And these moments, these sensory experiences, they become these really important triggers for the narrator as he's trying to piece together his past.
It's like those times when a song comes on the radio and suddenly you're right back in high school again. All those emotions come rushing back.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. And Proust shows us how these seemingly insignificant moments, these little details, they actually hold immense power in shaping who we are.
Okay, so to really unpack this, let's jump into Volume 1, Swan's Way.
The one with the Madeleine.
Yes. The iconic Madeleine scene. It's all there in Volume 1. We meet our narrator, still nameless, and we're transported to his childhood in Cambrai, this small town that's just like soaked in sensory details.
You can practically smell the linden trees.
It's Proust at his best. But it's also in Swan's Way that we meet Charles Swann. He's this art connoisseur, totally smitten with Odette de Crécy.
And she's a bit of a mystery, right?
Totally. She moves in this world of Parisian salons, which honestly, even back then, had a bit of a reputation.
Oh, yeah. Salons were the place to be seen, but they also had this air of, scandal.
Exactly. And Swann's totally drawn into that world because of Odette.
He falls hard for her, and I mean hard.
It's an obsession.
A total obsession.
Yeah.
And Proust really lays bare all the jealousy, societal pressures, and ultimately the disillusionment that can come with that kind of love.
Yeah, Swann's journey is almost like a cautionary tale.
Oh, absolutely. Like Proust is telling us, hey, love can be beautiful, but it can also really mess you up.
No kidding. But it's not all about Swann, right? We also have our narrator growing up, experiencing love for the first time.
Right, he's got his own thing going on.
And that's where In the Shadow of Young Girls and Flower comes in. That's Volume 2. And things get, well, a little more complicated.
Let's just say adolescence is in full swing.
Exactly. He's dealing with those first crushes, those awkward encounters, and Proust doesn't shy away from exploring sexuality, those more delicate feelings.
He's remarkably honest about it, which was pretty groundbreaking for the time.
Totally. But through all these fumbles and heartbreaks, our narrator, he's still got his eye on the prize. He wants into those exclusive social circles, and none are more prestigious than the Guermantes.
Oh yeah, the Guermantes. They're like the who's who of Parisian society.
Aristocrats, tastemakers, the works. Everyone wants an invitation to their gatherings.
Because to be seen with the Guermantes, well, that's how you knew you'd arrived.
They were the influencers of their time.
Exactly. So you can imagine our narrator's excitement when he finally gets access to their inner circle, right?
It's like getting that coveted follow back from like the biggest celebrity today.
Right. But as he spends more time with them, rubbing shoulders with these untouchable figures, he starts to see the cracks beneath the surface. Proust, he was a master at observing human nature. And he doesn't let the Guermantes off easy.
He's not afraid to pull back the curtain and show us what's really going on.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Not at all. He exposes all the pettiness, the rivalries, those little anxieties that lurk beneath the surface, even or maybe especially in the most privileged lives.
It's that old saying, right? The more things change.
The more they stay the same.
Exactly. And things are about to get even juicier as we move into Volume 3, Sodom and Gomorrah.
Now things are getting really interesting. This is where Proust really delves into the complexities of desire, and we meet one of my favorite characters, Baron de Charlus.
Oh, yes. Baron de Charlus. I can't wait to hear more about him.
Charlus is, well, he's a piece of work.
That's one way to put it.
But he's fascinating because he's this prominent figure,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Aristocrat moves in those elite circles.
Exactly. But he's also got this whole other side to him, this hidden life that would have been absolutely scandalous at the time.
And Proust doesn't shy away from any of it.
No, he doesn't. He really digs into the hypocrisy surrounding sexuality, especially in those rigid social circles. And Charles, he embodies that struggle, that push and pull between who you are and who society says you should be.
It's something that still resonates today, right?
Absolutely. Those pressures, those expectations, they might manifest differently now, but they're still there.
It makes you wonder about all the hidden lives going on behind those perfectly curated facades.
Oh, I know. It's like Proust is reminding us. Don't judge a book by its cover. There's always more to the story.
Okay, so we've got love, we've got secrets, we've got society, but there's another huge element at play in search of lost time.
Time itself, right?
Exactly. Proust doesn't just write about time. It's like he's bending it, stretching it, making it do all sorts of crazy things.
He plays with it constantly. The way he structures the narrative, it's like he's mirroring how our own memories work. We jump back and forth, we make connections, we have those sudden flashes of clarity.
Like when you're walking down the street and a particular smell hits you and suddenly you're transported back to your childhood.
Yes, those involuntary memories again. It's like time collapses in on itself. And Proust understood that those seemingly insignificant moments, they often hold the most emotional weight. They're the keys to unlocking something deeper within ourselves.
It makes you realize that time isn't just linear. It's not just this straight line from past to present to future.
No, it's fluid. It's circular. It's this constant interplay between what was, what is, and what might be.
And our memories, they're not just these passive recordings. They're active, they're alive. They shape how we see the world, how we understand ourselves.
And for Proust, art plays a crucial role in that process of remembering, of understanding. He saw art as this way to transcend our own limited perspectives, to connect with something larger than ourselves.
Okay, so how does that work? I mean, how can a painting or a piece of music actually do that?
Well, think about a time when you've been deeply moved by a work of art, a song that brought you to tears, a painting that took your breath away.
Oh, absolutely.
In those moments, it's like you're tapping into the artist's consciousness, their unique way of seeing the world. You're sharing an experience that transcends time and space.
It's like those artists, they're giving us a glimpse into their souls. And we get to connect with that, even if they've been gone for centuries.
Exactly. And Proust understood that power, that potential for art to create these profound connections. Think about the characters in Search of Lost Time, who are artists themselves. Elster, the painter, Vintuli, the composer. Their work isn't just background noise.
It's central to the story. It evokes emotions. It triggers memories. It reveals hidden depths in the other characters.
And in the reader, too. Proust wants us to have that same kind of experience, to be moved, challenged, even transformed by what we read.
He's asking us to slow down, to pay attention, to really see the world around us, even in its most ordinary details.
Because for Proust, there was no such thing as ordinary. Everything, even the most mundane experience, held the potential for beauty, for meaning, for revelation. He wanted us to experience life with all our senses, to find those extraordinary moments hidden within the ordinary.
It's funny because, in a way, Proust feels both very much of his time, with those long descriptions of Parisian society and all that, but also incredibly relevant to us today.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're living in this world of instant gratification.
Yeah.
Always on, always connected.
And Proust is almost like this antidote to that. He's saying, hey, slow down, pay attention. There's beauty in those little moments, in those memories.
Exactly. He wouldn't have had Instagram or Twitter to contend with, but he still understood that human need to connect, to make sense of our experiences.
And he found that connection through memory, through art, through this deep, deep dive into his own consciousness.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because even though he was writing over a century ago, the themes he explores in Search of Lost Time, they still resonate so deeply today.
Yeah, it's like he tapped into something universal about the human experience.
Love, loss, the passage of time, the search for meaning. These are things we all grapple with no matter what era we live in.
And what's amazing is how, even in a work as vast and complex as In Search of Lost Time, Proust manages to find those moments of humor, of tenderness, of just pure, relatable human experience.
He reminds us that even in the midst of all the chaos and confusion of life, there's still beauty to be found.
We just have to know where to look.
Exactly.
So as we come to the end of our own little deep dive here, I think it's safe to say that In Search of Lost Time, it's more than just a book. It's an experience.
It's a journey.
It is. And like any good journey, it's one best savored slowly.
Take your time. Get lost in Proust's world.
Yeah.
Let those sentences wash over you.
Because you never know what you might discover.
Maybe even a little bit about yourself along the way.
Beautifully said. And on that note, it's time for us to say au revoir. Until next time on The Deep Dive, happy reading.